Uganda has been all about one member of parliament, known more popularly by his alias Bobby Wine.
There has been a strong critic of President Yoweri Museveni, who's been in power since 1986.
Dear people around the globe, I'm addressing you as a Ugandan in the urge of telling the world a story. The story is about Robert Kyagulayi, also known as Bobby Wine, known for his music but leading what they call the struggle for freedom. For the ones who don't know anything about Uganda, we are the youngest population in the whole world, with over 80% of Ugandans below the age of 35. That's approximately the number of years our current president is in power, but that's also Bobby Wine's age. We Ugandans all know Bobby Wine because of his music. The music that he starts producing in the late 90s from a small town center in the suburbs of Kampala, Kamocha.
Remember say all the woman them an empress man. So treat the girl them nice man, you hear me? Yeah. Alright.
Bobby Wine himself is a ghetto kid. Himself he represents ghetto. He is part of the ghetto. Ghetto is in his blood. That's why he's loved in our country.
He challenged everyone that, you know what, you can come from the ghetto and be somebody, because I'm also from the ghetto.
I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
This is President Yoweri Museveni in 1986. Ugandans were happy that the war against the regime of former President Obote was over, and that Museveni brought stability and economic growth. Not 5, not 10, but 30 years later, he won his 6th term. Now, when we go back to Bobby Wine's ghetto, it might look peaceful to you. Kids playing around, happy faces, but the facts around Ugandan ghettos are worrying. People are really poor, and they feel completely abandoned by Museveni's government.
These people have been claiming they had brought peace. People are sleeping well, nobody. But we can't sleep when we are starving. This is part of Uganda where the war was. It had everything. People were good farmers. We had coffee factories. We had cotton factories. We had shambas, big shambas. They are nowhere to be seen. We had very strong cooperative societies. Nowhere to be seen. Ugandans are slaves in their country now. That's why we are crying to the incumbent to put in place a situation where we can change politics freely.
In the late 90s, Uganda's music industry was changing direction, majorly because of them. Chameleon, Bebe Cool and Bobby Wine. Who is your favorite artist? I think all Ugandans have had this question at least once. Musical beefs and competition was trending at the time, but Bobby Wine soon brought a new concept to life, the Bobby Wine edutainment. He gave advice through his music, sang about proper sanitation, entrepreneurship, the use of condoms, how to deal with the ghetto life, and he has always been outspoken about where he comes from, something that lots of Ugandans would be ashamed of.
I'm Bobby Wine. There's nothing to hide about me. I come from Kamocha, and hey, I'm proud of it.
And you know I'm representing that ghetto, and ghetto is all about, you know.
You think ghetto is about smoking? No, you're
that's
very
what
wrong.
We think.
That's what you think. That's why I'm here to make it clear. Ghetto is where I come from. Yeah. those places with limited opportunities. In the ghetto where we come from is where most talent is, but it's deprived of all the opportunities. That's where I come from. That's Uganda, baby.
Well, youth and youth, you know, if you know a politician will come for born. Straight from the dangala, come and we come for your space. Exactly what's on a poor man's mind. Man called Bobby One, a man called Nobby, and listen, we come for talk. Remember, we are got to youth. Watch this.
Like we were telling the people, we elected you into office. You need to do something about the ghetto. You don't only remember us when you really need to get back into those positions.
His music has always been about justice.
He preaches out love, he preaches out unity, he preaches out peace, and he teaches a lot of people through his works. All his works are educative.
He wrote a song, and I told him, man, this song is going to bring trouble for you. You want to do this song, you need to be somewhere, maybe you need to be a politician, don't do this song. And he said, okay, I understand, let me not do this song. And he didn't do the song. But after 5 years, he did the same song.
If I try to communicate what's actually on ground, I expect the authorities to appreciate that. I expect the authorities to react positively to that, not by intimidating the singer, not by branding me an inciter of violence. I expect understanding.
People are pushing him to another position. You're singing for us the songs, these guys hear them, but they can't do nothing. Can you please get there on the floor and speak for us?
So he's like, man, do you know that I can be a member of parliament? And I was, yes, you can.
So Bobby Wine presented himself as a candidate in the by-election for Chadondo East. That's the constituency where he stays, to be the member of parliament, the representative of this constituency.
If he is serious going to the parliament, let him first shave off all those dreads. He agreed with people. Then we designed the other posters.
It was put everywhere all over the country, even where the elections were not going to happen. You would go to Mbarara, find people with these posters everywhere on their cars, on the streets, in their restaurants.
Wow. Chadondo, those people showed us love. Really love.
We were trying to prove this, that it's not about the dreads, it's about the brains.
Eno egenda okubeera entandikwa y'enkomerero y'obubbi bw'akalulu mu ggwanga lyaffe.
This is the song that Bobby Wine sang during the presidential elections of 2016. In this song, he advocates for peaceful elections and condemns the violence, a thing that always occurred during the elections.
Yeah, of course, we are versing with the state. So all the state establishment were in place. That is the police, the intelligence, the army, and of course the NRM as a party.
And these guys really try to do what they're best at, trying to rig.
The police could say, let's continue. Okay, what happened? Okay, stop fighting. Let's continue voting. But somebody like is putting on like 300 votes and the voters are like 10. Security was to be guaranteed by us, not the police, because the police is ordered by the ruling government.
They caught guys with vehicles with boxes, so many votes already ticked.
We had to drive our cars the whole day, checking every polling station. If I'm here, somebody's here. If I'm here, somebody's there. We were driving around.
On the day of voting, there was so much tension. So many army people, like in uniform.
And at around 7, when it was becoming dark, they removed power. And I knew these people were going to rig elections.
These guys can do anything. Even if you win in numbers, they can decide to announce some other person. So there was so much tension.
These results are from all the 93 polling stations. I declare Kyagulayi Sentamu Robert, who has obtained the largest number of votes, to be the elected candidate for Kyadondo County East Constituency, Wakiso District.
This is not my victory, this is the people's victory. It is the exaltation of the voice of the common people. Now the divisions of elections are over, and it is time for us to work together to bring the positive change that our people so badly need.
I've been participating in elections throughout my life, but I have never seen an election where people jubilated as Robert's election. And in our history here, it hasn't ever been here for somebody to win an election 98%. Winning all, we won all.
Even the structures of the NRM, that's the National Resistance Movement, the party in power, voted for Bobi Wine.
There are people who are saying that a lot of musicians and comedians are getting into a parliament, and so it is sort of diluting the quality of the parliament. How different are you going to be, or what message do you have for such people?
There's something called stereotype, yeah? For long, there's been that stereotype. But probably that's why God raises people like me to prove certain negative perceptions wrong.
People used not to take him serious. But when he got into active politics, yeah, they're saying, hey, really, he had some sense. Yeah, now they started looking even for the songs that he'd sung before. And
like Bob Marley said, we handle things in a rubber-dub style. Yeah.
One Bobby, one with a man in a row. Blow that row, boy.
I, kyagulayi Sentamu Robert, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me.
Siko bulamu mukono tassa okalya dakadada kiribedda omuvubuka omulabu fuya beera stedenga bali wabeera nakapira kaba kukava nayika malusuku bagalabye kabiri kaluba kubamanyi embeera yasiteegwe n'ogwiroli n'ogwiranoyo ate nga toyambala kati babuusange baganda bange jakalabye mubulabikwera okudigida eryo ddembe lyaffe obale obudekegende naye temuloba.
What is your last word to them as you do make your first step to Parliament?
My last word to them is that you can count on me. I've walked into Parliament. I've always said it before that if Parliament cannot come to the ghetto will come to the Parliament. So I want you to know ghetto has come to the Parliament of Uganda. But what we want to deliver, what we want to change, we're going to change it together. My role is to give people confidence and to make them believe in democracy, which they believed in.
The whole country had been watching these elections. It felt bigger than a general election, while this was just a by-election for Chadondo East, one of the 146 constituencies. But there was also a big doubt in the back of people's mind. Is he going to deliver? Is he capable? Is it not just for the fame?
It had mixed feelings, you know. Politics.
And I was trying to show him that there's a way things have been going on in Uganda. And when you look, you wouldn't wish it on your friend. People are captured, beaten up, all sorts of things. And that's what we're heading to.
Remember that. Represent every day of the week. Straight from the ghetto. Mine.
Bobi Wine was not even a week old serving in parliament when a huge challenge came to his path. They wanted to remove the presidential age limit of 75 from the constitution. And if this bill passes, President Museveni can again rule for another term in 2021.
When he heard all that, he asked himself, should I sing a song? He got an idea and decided to go to the studio, and he recorded a voice message.
Voice note. My name is Kyagulayi Sentamu, also known as Bobi Wine. This 12th day of September 2017 is a very sad day in the leadership of our country. They passed a resolution to remove presidential age limits from the Constitution of Uganda so that President Museveni can become life president. They did this at a time when our nation has been bleeding for the last 31 years. Our country's former glory is all gone. Corruption rates are alarming, service delivery is at its worst, and women are dying while giving birth. Your elected members of parliament think the best response to this crisis is to remove age limits. Well, my message to them is this. You are traitors. You have betrayed your country. You have sold your conscience for cheap. History will judge you very harshly.
The last shots that we could see from Bobi Wine, he was in custody at the police station. But we all knew that he had an interview on NBS, Uganda's biggest news channel. So we were waiting to see if it would continue.
So they were like asking him about the recording. He said, yes, I said it, A, B, C, D. Did I break any law? So they had to sign for him. We left the police, we had to drive up to NBS. Then we reached NBS, Bobby entered the studio direct. Then the police had to wait for us.
Robert Kyagulayi, good evening, Robert.
I was charged for inciting violence as per the audio and video that I recorded. So I was sending a message to the people to tell them that it's actually their constitutional right as per Article 3, subsection 4 of the Constitution, that every Ugandan has a right and actually has a duty to protect the Constitution. And even right now on TV, I'm calling upon all Ugandans not to sit down, rise up and defend the Constitution before the Constitution is too weak to defend us. There were plans to arrest all of us opposed MPs. So we had a plan not to sleep at our places to fail their plan to arrest us. I have to be in Parliament together with my fellow MPs to stop this bill from even being presented. And now I'm heading to Parliament. And once I enter Parliament, still I have the immunity. They can't touch me. Yeah. So let's move.
By the time we got into the main road, everyone around could tell it was war. The road was blocked, traffic on the other side. That's when Bobby Wine got out of the car. When he got out, he just jumped onto a motor taxi. Davey came running after him while Bobby was on a motor taxi. Go, go, go. I told Bobby that police were following. The driver replied that police can't catch up. Heading to Parliament, we took shortcuts.
For us, we are watching on TV because Parliament was under siege. It was surrounded by all military forces.
There's nothing to clarify. Get out of the house. Nothing beyond procedure. Get out of the house. We resume in 30 minutes and you must be out of this house.
The speaker was not following the rules of procedure. And later on, we knew that she was given almost 6 billion shillings. She allowed the intruders to access Parliament. She allowed forceful eviction of MPs. So that situation, we told Bobby Wine, I personally told him that, you see, if the situation goes astray, you do whatever you can do to save the constitution, to save the country. You'll be counted in the history of Uganda.
Security personnel entered Parliament just to threaten them, and they fought with these people. It was a war.
We saw guys with the black suits. We informed their soldiers. Wanted to do these things when some members of Parliament were out. And this was planned.
Bobby Wine was taken to Nagalama police station, while a big part of the world was receiving this news. After this fight, the whole country was suddenly interested in national politics. Something was going on.
Bobby was at university and I was the best in our school, so I was brought to Kampala to feature in a drama. So he was also brought from MDD, Makerere University, and so we got to meet on stage. Okay, he was distinct, he was different. He had dreads, he walked differently, he was full of himself, he rarely talked to us, he came late, left early, but was very, very, very good on stage. So one day, Bobby pushes me to home. Then you would have to have some muscle to fight for a seat. So he would fight for my seat. Then this day he fought for my seat. Then the conductor said, you can't get out of this taxi, you're already seated. He said, okay, come and sit here. So he brought me all the way home. So when he came, this boy, Devi, said, what? Bobby, do you know who you're with? And I'm like, what do you mean? This is Bobby Wine. And I'm like, what do you mean? He says, he is Bobby Wine, the one that sings this song called Kagoma. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Of course, it felt like that was betrayal on my side. I needed to have known this from the start. Okay, it took me some time. My auntie just said, you know what is disturbing you? What is disturbing you is that you're so religious. You are just this church girl who does not know the town. He is not a thief. He is not a gambler. He is working hard and earning money through his talent. But then, I don't know where it ended, and then we were back together.
We read in the newspapers that 3 explosives were thrown at their home, the place where Bobby Wine, and their 4 children stay. It was directly related to the fact that Bobby Wine was trying to stop the age limit bill from being passed.
We cannot allow a dictatorship, because if this passes, then we are doomed.
He started a campaign with other opposition members to stop this bill. The campaign color was red, so everybody was wearing red. Even members of the ruling party were joining the campaign. They named the campaign Tojikwata Ko, meaning don't touch the constitution.
When Tojikwata Ko started, several things occurred. I was here one night, and Robert called me that they had dropped grenades at his house. And that very morning, I drove to his place. As I was there, several members of parliament came to console him. I welcomed them.
Down there in the ghetto, people are beginning to get this ray of hope. They believe things can change, and indeed things can change. So we just can't give up, especially when we know that what we're doing is right.
If you come for my children, then you've come for everything I have. So it was a big scare.
Some of them are crying, why don't you leave these people alone? But when you look at the promise we gave people, when you look at the conviction we have in our hearts, you realize that, we either win this struggle or we die trying.
He drove back to his studio without telling anybody, and the next morning he took me to the studio to listen to his new project with Dan Magic. I heard the song Freedom.
They shot the video so fast. Because we were scared that it would be stopped, we released it the moment we were on the plane. They would have arrested him.
We even named it the Freedom Tour because we released the song, and by the time we got to South Africa, everyone knew the song.
The song spread like a wildfire. Yeah, even if it did not get played so much on TV. And for the few TVs it played on, they were warned not to play it.
It's not the first time they ban him. They don't play his music on TV, but people have it on their phones, people have it on their radios, people have it on their computers.
Yo, back home they're banning Bobby Wine song titled Freedom.
Yeah, man, freedom comes to those who fight, not to those who cry. Because the more you cry is the more your people continue to die. So speak to the dictator straight in the face and tell him we want to be free. Free.
We came back to Uganda and continued with concerts.
Everyone thought that they would arrest him at the airport. There would be so much attention. That was his protection.
He always has tours in Uganda, the Central Tour, the Eastern Tour, the Western Tour.
His next rallies has been his concerts because they attract huge amounts of people. And he have been pushing in his message. It could boost him. That's why they tried to stop him.
And Bobby, when he sang the freestyle, it came worse. So they had to stop Mokono. There are many different shows that were stopped.
Because they thought and they knew that when people get to realize the truth, it will be a tug of war.
Banyomeza olunaku lwesirierabira banyomeza olutalo mu paliamenti bali mukutesa mu paliamenti netolombebwa obusajja obumanyiteke naye bwasanga naffe tumanyiteke ozefunya naffe netuzifunya otulaga naffe netubalaga ezamaye naffe.
So they start stopping his concerts.
But you told them, I'm a musician by profession. You cannot stop me from singing. We are going to court.
I was subsequently charged with inciting violence. But in my own interpretation, they are charging me for opening the eyes of the people, especially the youth. They are charging me for showing people that they have been enslaved for so long.
They gave us some rules. You shouldn't talk about Ojikwatako. You shouldn't talk about politics. No, go, sing, get off the stage.
That's not the Bobby Wine people came to watch.
Hey, I would like to communicate about the things that we have to eliminate, the ignorance and poverty to eradicate, all these ghetto youths them to educate. Can't you see that the president is too old? Disrespect of the constitution is too bad. We are fighting for freedom. We are living in a time similar to the one of slave trade. This operation is worse than apartheid. The gun is the master, citizen slave. The ball of Africa is bleeding. Question, what was the purpose of the liberation when we can't have a peaceful transition? What is the purpose of the constitution when the government disrespect the constitution? Where is my freedom of expression when you charge me because of my expression? Look what you're doing to this nation. What are you teaching the future generation? See our leaders become misleaders and see our mentors become tormentors. Freedom fighters become dictators. They look on the youth and say we are distractors. We are fighting for freedom. Yes, man, like Martin Luther said, in the end, we remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
We decided to carry out public rallies, constituency per constituency, to carry out consultation. If you are having a political rally, you just do it, because even if you seek for permission from the police, they cannot do what? They cannot allow you.
Wayinza okubuuza Bobby amaanyi agajjawa agogera nga ate naye wageto nga ffe. Singa osoma mukana akatabo ka constitution ojja kumanya nti nga muna Uganda etteeka likuwa obuyinza bungi nnyo, etteeka likufuula boss.
They don't want us to talk to let the public know of this. A lot of people could have known this a long time ago, but wherever you say we are having a rally, we are going to talk about national issues, they bring in tear gas.
Enyingo esokera ddala nyingo namba emu egamba all power belongs to the people. Obuyinza bonna bw'abantu. Enyingo eyokubiri, all citizens of Uganda shall have the right and the duty at all times to defend the constitution.
If you make a rally there without Bobby Wine, you can't get good results.
Bameka abagamba semateeka tebagikwatako kadabo.
Then we bullets, the tear gas, live bullets. We went down like this. People were so dangerous and ready to do everything in Tojikwataku.
If 20 men and 10 women can cause commotion in the parliament, so what about a million ghetto youth?
The whole country was watching to see the last seat in parliament about the presidential age limit. Is this age limit bill going to pass? We were very curious to hear the last words of our MPs, our representatives, before the last decision was going to be made.
Honorable Speaker and members, I have the rare opportunity to traverse the whole country, and everywhere seen from north to south, from the east to the west, people are saying, "Do not touch our constitution." These people, ladies and gentlemen, these people know what they are talking about. They know what this is about, and they know who is pushing it. We have a chance to solve the problems of our grandfathers and grandmothers. We have a chance to do that, we have a chance to reverse that, and it is important that we save our children and the children of our children from this madness. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Yes. It's on.
Yeah.
If you can watch inside the lens would be great.
Okay. Yeah. To the government, the president, of course, and the entire executive, I want you to know that this is not a war. We don't hate you. We say this because we love our country and we love our generation and we want to be in a better Uganda. You promised us lots of things, but we have been disappointed constantly. All we are looking for is the opportunity to do things ourselves in our home. When you were our age, you did not accept these kinds of injustices. There's no reason why you should expect us to accept that in our age. That's all. We want to do that constitutionally and peacefully and for the betterment of our country. Yeah, to all of you Ugandans, it's important for you to know that this is your country, this is where you are born, and this is where you are going to be buried. It's important not to expect everything from the politicians or from the government. So get involved, don't leave matters to the politicians alone. No, get involved. And most importantly, do not fear, because fear is the only barrier between us and the country we want to live in. One day we shall be reminding ourselves of this struggle, and that is when we are on the other side of freedom. So hanging right there, we're also hanging in right there, we'll get the liberation that we deserve.
From this moment on, one challenge after the other was coming his way. He demonstrated against new laws that were brought in by Museveni. He started the People Power movement, brought opposition leaders together, and he went to support opposition candidates in other parts of Uganda in order to create a more equally balanced parliament. But the more he started mobilizing Ugandans, the more his life was made difficult by the government. And the more his popularity amongst Ugandans was growing, the more he was getting into the danger zone. Until the 13th of August, Bobi Wine was supporting an opposition candidate in the northern part of Uganda while things got out of control. Bobi Wine was captured, tortured, and brought to the military prison. His driver was shot dead in the driver's seat of his car, where he was seated 1 minute earlier. Bobi Wine was facing death and needed medical help from abroad.
Why is my husband held in a military barracks?
This is the moment that the world was taking it to the streets with the hashtag #FreeBobiWine. And me? I was demonstrating in Amsterdam, and it really doesn't matter who I am, but I am one of the many Ugandans who has been following the story, and that still follows it. Because this is a very important part of the story of Uganda, the story from ghetto to parliament.
Bam bam, bam bam, bam bam, bam bam.